arrival was almost unspeakable.
We are all evil in some form or another. I'm not guilty.
The dead won't bother you. It's the living you gotta worry about.
If I couldn't keep them there with me whole, at least I felt that I could keep their skeletons.
Hello, and welcome to the Bad Taste Crime Podcast. I'm Rachel.
I'm Vicky.
How is everybody?
Hello.
You all look sexy.
We're back again.
Yes.
Back again.
Are you guys glad to see us?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I lisped so bad.
I'm sure. Lisp?
Are you guys glad to see us?
I doubt they could tell. It probably just sounds like a lot of S's that are hopefully getting drowned out by these pop filters.
Pop, pop, pop.
I mean, don't like test it. I'm sure there's people with audio shit that's like, oh my God, this is the worst. You're lucky we finished eating our donuts before we hopped on this mic.
Oh my God, apple cider donuts. That's the best part about fall is when you start seeing apple cider donuts and like pumpkin treats in the stores.
We are in the full swing of fall.
Yes.
By the time this comes out, it's going to be approaching Halloween. So stay safe out there. You know,
be careful.
All those people not putting drug in candy because I always love how they're just like, people are gonna drug your candy, and we're like, nah, dude, drugs are expensive. Why would I give that shit to children?
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. These are all people who do not do drugs. Clearly.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they're not the ones. Yeah,
I've talked to a million like old people about that, where they're like, all of these, it's crazy that they make weed edibles in the shape of like regular candy. Like kids could get that. And I'm like, just like what you said, it's very expensive. So I'm not giving a kid my edible that I paid like $12 for.
Right.
I'm going to eat it and then watch Adventure Time.
Yes.
But also B. Oh, hold on. I forgot B.
I was all ready. You queued up a second option.
Oh, B, it's like they don't make it easy for children to get. I mean, half the time those packages are like so hard to open.
Right.
I have to take scissors to it every time. So I'm like, no kid could get this. It's like so hard.
Yeah, I agree.
Not that I speak from experience.
I agree. Sorry. My mom is messaging me about Bears numbers.
Hi, Vicky's
and
mom.
We're recording. So I have
Vicky's
to take
mom.
care of this.
Former guest of the podcast.
Former
Vicky's
guest.
mom.
Beloved guest
We
by
love
everybody
her.
who has heard her.
Yes.
Sorry, was recording. She'll listen to this later and feel very guilty. Okay. On that note, we are going to head over to the newsroom.
Yeah.
Fit to breathe, our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad.
This week, our news comes from the BBC. It is, this is the weirdest shit ever.
Is it?
Okay, so Neil Hopper, 49-year-old Neil Hopper of Truro, Cornwall, just got jailed for 2 years and 8 months for insurance fraud and possessing extreme pornography.
What the hell is extreme pornography? Like BMX?
Okay, well, also, what do these two things have to do with each other?
Another question.
Another question.
I was
right?
stuck on the like BMX porn.
Okay, so he is an NHS vascular surgeon.
Okay.
And this is like so wild. I don't even know where to begin. So basically, in 2019, Hopper had below knee amputations on both legs after a mysterious illness.
Oh, no.
But actually, it wasn't a mysterious illness. It was self-inflicted. He used ice and dry ice to freeze his own legs so that they had to be removed.
No.
Okay.
Oh, no. Ew.
Oh, God.
Blech.
So he had originally claimed that they were a result of sepsis to the insurance companies,
Right.
which is where...
He was like, oh, no, my legs.
Yeah, which is where the insurance fraud came in.
Uh-huh.
And in court, he admitted to these 2 counts of fraud, but... Part of this, too, was 3 counts of possessing extreme pornography because he had, quote, a sexual interest in amputation.
Ew. Ah.
Yeah. It says, the article from the BBC says the level of harm in 3 videos of body mutilation, which were the subject of the pornography charges, was exceptionally high.
Oh, he put his like leg cutting off videos on like OnlyFans.
I don't know if he put his own up or if he was in possession of other
Yikes.
amputation videos.
Yo, I'm not kink shaming, but that's crazy.
Yeah. It's just as like such a weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. They said, what is this? One of the guys said in court his motivations were a combination of obsession with removing parts of his own body and a sexual interest in doing so.
Ew.
Yeah. See, I thought when I first saw this, I thought that because there are people who are into other people who have already had amputations,
Right.
like amputees.
Right.
In that way, like there's a whole porn category devoted to that.
Yeah.
But no, it sounds like this is the actual like removing of the body part that is
That's
the part that's causing
horrific.
sexual gratification, which is
Yeah.
like, again, yeah. Okay. So here it is. The extreme pornography offenses were connected to videos of body mutilations that Hopper had purchased online and did not include children. Did not include children.
Well, that's good.
Yes.
I still don't want to see you cut off your legs, though.
He bought 3 videos from a website that I will not name for £10 and
TakeMyFeet.com.
£10 and £35 respectively, showing men willingly having their genitals removed. He also exchanged 1,500 messages with Gustafsson. Let me see. Oh, he's the owner. He's the guy who ran the website, about his own lower leg amputations and how he had done it, including asking how much dry ice he used.
Wow. That reminds me of that like old German case, the Armin Meiwes, the cannibal, who like invited the guy over and then killed and ate him.
Yes. Yeah.
There's like this whole underground community of like
I actually almost
cannibals.
covered that case today. Not that one.
Oh,
It might have been that
really?
one, or it was one that was similar to that. Like
yeah.
consensual cannibalism, essentially.
Ooh.
Yeah. So Gustafsson, the guy who owned the website, has actually been jailed for life with a minimum term of 22 years at the Old Bailey in 2024 for leading an extreme body modification ring.
What a title.
There's also talk about Hopper, the guy who cut off his own legs, suffering body dysmorphia since childhood, and he felt like his feet were an unwelcome extra and a persisting, never-ending
thing,
discomfort,
too.
which is a thing. But when it strays into the like sexual,
Right. And people like
aspect.
encouraging you instead of being like, wow, that certainly sounds like something that maybe you should go to therapy for.
And then after he had the amputations, like he got this outpouring of support, which to him was like, okay, now it's even harder to tell them the truth because everybody's like being so supportive of me losing my feet. It's a whole thing. So anyway,
oh my God.
he got 2 years.
It's
Weird
tootsies.
story.
That's
Strange
weird.
story.
I feel like that's a good one for like our weird stories today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very weird.
We are going to move on to Netflix and Kill, where this week we are talking about a very short little slice of life.
Oh.
Not really a slice of life, but
Slice.
short little documentary called The Quilters. That is on Netflix. It's like 30, 35 minutes.
Yeah.
But it is about a restorative justice organization within the South Central Correctional Center in St. Louis, just south of St. Louis.
Oh, okay.
That has a program that allows inmates to spend 40 hours a week making quilts.
Wow.
So they have a whole quilting room.
Cute.
It's run by this guy named Ricky, who is serving, I believe he's serving a life sentence for murder.
Okay.
And he's an older guy.
Yeah.
But these are all, I mean, crimes of various
Right.
degrees.
And they're all just doing a little quilting bee.
And
I
you
think that's cute.
It is required that you have a completely clean record in prison.
Oh,
You can't have any like prison offenses.
Right.
In order to do this. And the second you get one, you're taken off the project. And a lot of people don't like that because frankly, the men who are doing this they find this as sort of a respite for
Right.
it gets them off the cell block.
They
so
don't want
able
no
to do
drama.
something creative.
Right.
You know, textiles is very cathartic work in my opinion.
Absolutely.
And they do all of these. They're actually birthday quilts for foster kids and kids with disabilities. So they do a lot for like kids with autism.
That is so
They also
cute.
they quilt weighted vests for
how
autistic
nice.
kids. Yeah.
That is so cool.
So they'll get in, the kids will send in descriptions of
Yeah.
like, I'm into
Right.
sports, or,
Right.
my favorite color is purple. I really like butterfly. Like, there's one guy who like specializes. He's like, butterflies is my thing. Like
How
I love the butterfly fabric.
sweet.
And all of the fabric that they get is donated from like local organizations that just have like extra
way.
fabric around.
Well, I think
Yeah.
that's wonderful and wholesome.
Yeah, it's a really, really cool program.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to highlight this. Like I said, it's only like 30, 35 minutes. So
Yeah.
it's very, very short. But I wanted to
Yeah.
highlight this because we don't often see positive things coming out of prisons. And I
Right.
think having things like restorative justice organizations in prisons
That's what we should
is
have.
very helpful. It's going to
Absolutely.
help the recidivism rate. It teaches new skills.
Mm-hmm.
These are not all people that are serving life for murder, right?
Right,
Some
right.
of them are.
Right.
Right. But some of them could be getting out at some point.
And they're
so
behaving themselves in the prison. It's keeping them out of trouble.
keeping them out of trouble, teaching them a new skill, allowing them to have some sort of creative freedom, because they'll get the descriptions from kids, but they have complete control
Right.
over the patterns
Oh, how
and the
nice.
colors. And Ricky, the guy who has been doing it, takes these guys in, like takes them under his wing and teaches them how to quilt and teaches them all the skills that they might
I
need.
love that.
Yeah, it's a really, really cool program. I wish more prisons had programs like
right.
this.
Absolutely. That's what it's supposed to be about.
Yeah, but it's a very cute little watch.
Yeah.
Real feel good.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch that.
Yeah. Also, frankly, for me, like I love seeing men doing things that
Absolutely.
are traditionally considered women's
Yeah.
work or like women's projects, right? Love that.
I love everything
Love that.
about this.
Yeah, because it's also like quilting, especially, is also very technical.
Yes.
And you have to be able to measure and count, and they want to get all of their stitches perfect. And
Right. So it's not
depending
easy.
on how you stitch things, it appears differently when you put all the panels together. And like, anybody can do anything, really, is what I'm getting at.
I
No
love
gender, no
that.
gender locks or anything, but. It's a very cute little documentary. It's called The Quilters. It's on Netflix. If you need a short watch it during dinner. It's very feel good. It's not like a downer, but
I
also
love
great that they're
that.
able to give back to the community.
Right.
That they are
For
in.
such a good cause. That is
Yeah.
so, I love the weighted vests. That
and
is so
it's really
sweet.
cool because they will get like pictures back of like the kids with their quilts and stuff, and they have a whole wall of just like letters and
Cry.
pictures,
That
and
is
it's so sweet.
cute.
It's so sweet.
I love that. I want to
Yeah.
order a quilt.
Yeah, I know. Well,
I want a butterfly quilt
you're not a child
today.
anymore.
I'll make my son write it.
You might act like a child, but girl, we're in our 30s.
Rude.
I'm just saying. I said we.
She's
I said we.
Spicy today.
I said
She's bringing
we.
the spice.
I am a little spicy today.
I
But
love
I did
it.
say we. I included myself in that.
You did.
Me, the 35-year-old adult that watches cartoons on a
Well,
daily
of course.
basis.
Who doesn't watch cartoons?
Yes.
I love cartoons.
Anyway, this is that part of the show where we say content might not be appropriate for all listeners. Mine is
not.
actually not terrible, but I know yours is a lot more.
Mine's,
Shall we say violent?
Yeah, it's definitely, I go into talking about the wounds that this person sustained,
Yes.
and it might get a little grisly. So if
Yeah.
you're not into that, that's okay. We love you. Go watch the quilting show
Yeah.
and meet us next episode.
Yes. So, Rachel, what did we decide to do today?
So we figured this week we would do kind of like a wild card.
We've done them before. They know
Right.
what a wild card episode
No,
is.
I know.
So we're doing a wild card.
Yeah.
Because basically, Rachel picked a topic that I couldn't fit into.
Yeah, I'm
Which
not
happens.
good at picking
it happens.
topics.
No. It's happened sometimes.
It's hard to summarize for me.
Yeah. It's a very like nuanced skill.
Because mine was like, because I was looking at this particular case, which I'll go into further. It was actually sent in as a request by a fan of the show, by a listener. So I thought that I
Okay.
would cover it.
Nice.
Very nice.
Nice.
I totally lost my train of thought.
That's okay. When you brought this up to me originally, these were supposed to be
Oh, yeah.
our episodes for the recording session that we didn't do.
Yup.
And so you had brought up this idea of like cases that you don't agree with the outcome with.
Yes.
Up as I'm like 4 days post head injury. And I was like, I literally cannot think of
Let me make it
anything.
as complicated as possible.
Please, can we do a wild card so that I can just, get something down? So
I'm excited to see what you pick.
that's what we did. Yes.
Yes.
It'll be good. But
It will
you
be
are
good.
starting us off today.
I'm starting.
Yeah.
So mine, so like we were kind of saying, my idea was, because since this was sent in by a fan, I was like, okay, let me look into this and see what's going on. And the reason they sent it to me is because this is a case with some quite recent updates, actually,
Okay.
as recent as this month.
Ooh, nice.
Nothing super satisfying,
Yeah.
but like there's stuff happening still, which is good. It's not cold.
Okay.
Which is good.
Yeah.
But that's what I was like looking into, because I was like, what is, like, I want to cover this case. What's the theme of this case? And I was like, well, what they said happened didn't fucking happen. That's all I know.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
So I am here to tell you today about the suspicious demise of Ellen Greenberg.
Okay.
So the reason I kind of went with like, I don't agree, I feel like we're both very like healthily skeptical girls.
Yes.
You know,
I am definitely
you are
I'm very healthfully, what did you say?
healthfully skeptical.
Healthfully skeptical. That's
Yeah.
me. That's 2 words that I would use to describe me.
You're definitely the Scully to my Mulder,
I
because
am.
we're both suspicious, but I'm like, what if it's a ghost? And you're
Yeah.
like, what if it was not fucking that?
So I've actually been watching the X-Files recently,
Oh my
like
God!
front to back.
Yes.
And it's so
It's so
funny
good.
how accurate that statement is. Like the more I watch it, I'm like, no, that's definitely true. Like
Yeah,
I am
me and you.
definitely the Scully
Yep.
of the group.
And I'm the Mulder, where I'm running off, trying to look for a Bigfoot with boobs.
Right.
Running away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it's healthy to question what you're being told. Mm-hmm. You know,
I
because
agree.
we've all seen cases that have gotten overturned. I mean, there's the organization, the Innocence Project, where
Right.
it looks into like they were convicted. We thought they didn't. Actually, they didn't fucking do it.
Yeah, and frankly, just talking like forensically, like there's been so many
Right.
developments over the last 25 years
Yeah.
that things that we once took as truth, as fact, are maybe not as black and white as we originally thought.
I'm bummed
know?
that like blood spatter turned out to not be as definitive as I once thought it was.
Yeah, no. I mean, again, these are like tools.
Yeah, but they're not
same with like
definitive tools.
lie detector tests. Same with hair samples. Same
Right.
with, you know what I mean? Like these are tools, but
Yeah.
they are not going to be
One of them cannot
100%
convict a case.
confirming.
Right.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. So yeah, this is when I started reading all the articles, I was like, nah. So
Okay.
I'm going to present it to you guys and see, what do you think happened?
Okay, I'm
but
ready.
I can pretty much guarantee that you're not going to be like, oh, they are saying the truth.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
So
Way to
Ellen,
prime the audience.
Yes.
That's bad interview technique.
this was pretty obvious. Though.
Okay.
Like when you hear the cause of death, you're gonna be like,
You're
oh,
asking me leading questions.
oh my God, law friend. Oh my God. So Ellen Ray Greenberg was born on June 23rd, 1983. Her
Okay.
parents were Sandy and Josh Greenberg.
Okay.
She had a pretty normal upbringing, I think like middle to upper class, nothing really of note. She went to Penn State and got a degree in communications.
Okay.
And then she went to another university, Temple University, to get her teaching degree.
Oh, I know Temple. I got friends at Temple.
Yeah. So she kind of realized that she had this natural gift with children.
Okay.
And she really wanted to help people. This is something we'll learn during this, is she was a very kind and gentle and sweet person.
Okay.
So she started working at Juniata Park Academy in Philadelphia. She was a first grade teacher there.
Okay.
And she was living good. She had her good life. She lived in an apartment with her fiance, who was named Samuel Goldberg.
Okay.
So she's just like, living her little teacher life.
Sure.
So in 2011, she comes home from work. There was actually kind of like it was in the end of January. And I know that like Philadelphia is like kind of cold, but it was kind of like a freak blizzard.
Yeah. I feel like they actually do not get as cold as we do here. They
I
might
think
get
so
some of it,
too.
but they're much hotter in the summers than I would have expected.
That's true.
And the snow in the winters is not as bad. Like, because it's still so sunny, like it'll be there and then melt by the afternoon.
Maybe I'll move there.
Yeah.
I
No,
love that.
I mean, people that we know would probably argue with you.
Yeah.
Philly's fine.
Yeah.
Philly's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like it not being that cold.
Yeah.
That's sexy.
Yeah.
But there was a like freak blizzard. So she had to go home like a little early and like went straight to her apartment, probably about to bundle in and have a cup of hot cocoa. You know, everything's chill.
Oh, yeah.
But then the police get a call. The local police get a call. On the phone is her fiance, Samuel Goldberg. So he had returned from the gym. He had gone to the gym and then he tried to get the door open and he couldn't open it, the door to their apartment.
Okay.
So he was trying to like bash the door down. He was texting her, calling her, girl, come open the door. I'm locked out. And he said that he noticed that the door was secured with a swing latch from the inside. So like he had a lot of trouble knocking it down.
Okay.
So locked from the inside. So he busts in, goes into the kitchen, and finds the unresponsive body of his fiancée, Ellen Greenberg. Now, on the phone call, obviously, he's like very distressed. You can hear him on the phone call, like trying to break down the door.
Yeah.
He's like, I have security here with me. We're trying to break down the door. And then he breaks in. He's like, oh my God, there's just blood all over the place. And he told, because the dispatcher's probably like, what the hell? She's like, girl, what's going on? Like, what's happening? What do you mean
Right.
she's on the floor? And he's like,
Right.
he said, quote, she stabbed herself. She fell on a knife.
Okay.
Okay. So like, you know, if I were a dispatcher, I'd be thinking like she's cutting celery and she accidentally cut her arm. It happens to the best of us, you know. But that was not the case. She had, when like medical examiners were able to medically examine her, they found 20 stab wounds, including 10 to her back, her neck, and the back of her head.
Okay.
The knife, it was like a big ass. It was a knife that she had in the home.
Okay.
It was like a steak knife or whatever.
Okay.
The knife was found like jutting out of her chest. Okay. So it was just this like horrible horror show.
Was it like a steak knife or was it like a chef knife?
It was just like a big ass knife.
Okay.
Like a big like choppy chop.
Yeah.
So maybe
you're talking more of like a chef's
more of a chef
knife.
knife. That's true.
Not like the big square ones, but like
no,
the big
a big stabby one.
Yeah.
A scary looking one.
Because I'm like, a steak knife probably would not have lived up to 20.
Right. That's very, and a
whatever
lot of
stab
them were
wounds.
super deep.
Yeah,
Like I
that's
looked
crazy.
at the medical examiners, you know, they put out that little paper that like they have the outline of the body and they show where all of the lacerations are.
Yeah.
It was crazy the amount of stuff that was like on the back of her head and neck.
Okay. Yikes.
So they also found, as they were examining her body, you know, they have to note everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, boy, she sure is covered in bruises. There were 11 bruises of various size in various stages of healing on her like right arm, her abdomen, and her right leg. So they were trying to figure out like, did this happen if there was like a struggle? Maybe like whoever it was like threw her on the floor.
Well, and lacerations can cause bruising also.
Right.
Yeah.
But she was mainly
But you said
stabbed.
various stages of healing.
Correct.
Okay.
So that's what they were, because at first they were like, oh, this is obviously from whatever happened, like she fell down or whatever. But then they were like, well, some of these came from before.
Yeah.
So that's not possible. So initially, because of what her fiance had said, they were like, oh, okay, it's a suicide because he said she fell on the knife. Right. But after the autopsy...
But if he told them I just got home, how would he know?
These are questions that are important to ask.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, you'll see. It's
How
okay.
would he know? Okay.
It's okay. You'll see. So after the autopsy, they were like, no, it's clearly a homicide.
Right.
So they
Okay, good.
only put it as a suicide until the autopsy, and then they were like, we are treating this as a very obvious homicide.
Which is fair. I mean, that's not I don't want to say that's not uncommon for them to be like,
Right.
this is our initial assessment and,
they
what's
don't
the
know,
autopsy
you know,
is
she
done.
was in
Yeah,
pretty
that
bad
changes.
shape, so they were trying to
Right.
figure out. Unfortunately, the next day, the Philadelphia Police Department was like, quote, the death of Ellen Greenberg has not been ruled a homicide. Homicide
What?
investigators are considering the manner of death as suspicious at this time.
Okay.
And then the medical examiner was like, oh, yeah, I've actually gotten to look at it a little bit more, and it was probably a suicide.
What?
So he changed his ruling.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So when they do, as they're like, obviously this is the scene of the crime, they figured out that she was obviously like killed there, not like killed somewhere else and brought there. You know what I mean? Like her death, whatever it was, her death occurred at the apartment.
Yeah.
So they were like, let's lock this shit down. So they sent cleaners to sanitize everything, to note everything. And normally for that, the people who are there at the house are like detectives. They're crime scene cleaners. They're people involved with a case. Someone who, I'm not sure why he was there, was a prominent Pennsylvania judge named James Schwartzman.
Okay.
Now, like, how is he connected to this case, right? I'll tell you. He is Goldberg's uncle.
Okay.
They had a very close relationship.
Yikes.
So on that day when all of the police were doing what they were supposed to and sanitizing and working the crime scene, Judge James Schwartzman entered the apartment that day to retrieve, quote, work and personal laptops, credit cards, and phones belonging to both Goldberg and Greenberg.
Okay.
So he was like taking their shit.
It's a little sus. Okay.
So at later in January, the police were like, hey, give that stuff back. But
Yeah.
like he took that shit.
Yeah.
You know, and like did who knows what with it.
Yeah.
Cleared everything.
Is he,
you know?
is he a judge in Philadelphia?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. So in March, there's a Philadelphia paper that's like the Philadelphia Inquirer, which I love. I love an Inquirer. So
Okay.
fun.
Yeah.
They did like a whole expose, front page story being like, this does not make sense. They were like, suicide where?
Yeah.
There's this guy, his name is Cyril H. Wecht. He is a forensic pathologist based out of Pittsburgh. He actually like is high up enough that he was consulted for like the JFK assassination.
Okay.
And he is like a questioner just like us and has said about JFK that there's no way it was a single bullet.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's just putting up theory, but he's like this high up guy.
Yeah.
He said, quote, it was strongly suspicious of homicide and said he, quote, did not know how they wrote this off as a suicide. This is a name I don't know if maybe you'll recognize because I know that you're interested in this case. A scientist who testified for the defense in the O.J. Simpson trial, his name's Henry Lee. He said, quote, the number and types of wounds and bloodstained patterns observed are consistent with a homicide scene.
Let me just double check that I'm thinking of the right person, but I'm pretty sure.
Henry Lee.
Yep.
Yeah,
Henry
quite the character.
Lee. Yeah. Yes, interesting guy. He also did some stuff, I think, with Jean Benet.
I believe he did too. So all of these like high up people on these like quote unquote celebrity cases, like
Yes.
these big government cases, are speaking out and being like, hello.
Yeah.
This did not happen.
Yeah, he did Jean Benet. He did the Hallicrafts wood chipper murder. He did that, which was apparently the first murder conviction in Connecticut without a victim's body. That would be kind of interesting. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, because it got mulched.
The O.J. Simpson and Lacey Peterson cases, 9/11 forensic investigation, D.C. sniper shootings, and reinvestigated the assassination of John F. Kennedy.
Wow.
Yeah. He's been everywhere, this guy.
Wow. I love that.
Yes. Yeah. He's done other stuff. He did some analysis for Michael Peterson's trial. He did some stuff on Kaylee Anthony.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Phil Spector. Jesus.
Fucking Phil Spector.
Yeah.
So he's got quite the rap sheet
Yeah.
of like speaking up at cases that other people also disagree with.
Yeah. I will say he is not without fault. There is
absolutely.
a little controversy
Oh, of
about like one of the
course.
cases, but interesting guy.
Everybody's a little
We might
shady.
have to come back and talk about Mr. Henry Lee.
I think we should.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting that all of these people are like, no.
Right.
So my thing with this, because I was in a live on TikTok and a fan of I told about the podcast and she started listening and then she messaged me. It was really sweet and requested me to do this case. When I first started looking into it, I was like kind of wondering in my brain because I'm like, obviously, I don't think that she killed herself.
Right.
21 stab wounds.
And the fact that they are primarily in her back,
That's
and
what
the
I
back
mean.
of her head is like,
right. So
Okay.
I tried to look up, I was kind of looking up like how many people who have chosen to end their lives choose something so painful. I was like, is that common?
Yeah.
No, it is not. Most of the time, they're just trying to end it quickly.
Yeah. And even if you're going to go a route like something with a knife,
Right.
then you typically don't have more than one wound.
That's the thing. So Wayne K. Ross, who is like a detective, a local detective who was later hired by Ellen's family, who obviously was like, hello, said that especially like, because it's not unheard of for people to stab themselves, right? It does happen. But he says most of the time, he was alluding to the fact that people don't think it's as painful as it is.
Right.
And once you do it, you don't want to do it again.
Exactly.
Our human brain, our little monkey brain is so primed to avoid pain and discomfort.
Yeah.
And especially like certain areas of our body that are important, right? He said it would have caused like the first stab into the back of her head would have immediately given her a traumatic brain injury.
Mm-hmm.
She probably wouldn't have been able to be coordinated enough to
Yeah.
continue to stab all over herself.
Right.
And for something that I do find, and I'm aware it's a sensitive subject, but with people who take their own life, it just does seem like you're trying to get it as quick as possible. You know,
Yeah.
you don't want to draw it out. Like,
right.
why would you do that when it's not a guaranteed death? People survive
Yeah.
stab wounds all the time.
Right.
Like,
right.
what? Like, it's super weird.
Yeah. And frankly, when you're, especially when you're talking about a woman,
Right.
because women
it's
would,
messy.
it's messy, and women typically tend to go for the less
Pills.
messy option. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Because they don't want to leave something for someone to clean up. They don't want to
Yeah.
traumatize people.
Yeah.
Like, it's a generalization, but it's not an incorrect generalization
right.
at all.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite in Criminal Minds. They have an episode like that where a guy, they pull up to the scene and a guy has like shot himself like really horribly with like a shotgun in there. So he's already dead. And someone was like, well, who's the victim? Is it a man or woman? They're like, well, it's obviously a man. And they're like, why? And they're like, because women don't want to upset people.
Yeah.
It would not be, if we were getting called for someone who just like hung themselves,
Right.
then perhaps. But something big and violent and awful like that,
Yeah.
it's a guy.
Yes. Yeah. We're, again, it's
a generalization.
It's a generalization, but not an incorrect one.
Right.
This is just based on facts.
And I mean, that's their
Like,
whole job, the behavioral analysis unit. They're supposed
Right.
to work with generalizations, but like
Yes.
it is quite the thing. And she was very beautiful and very sweet, like a sweet little first grade teacher. She's going to stab herself in the head a million times. No,
I know.
I disagree.
I know.
So he thinks it would not be possible. So in the original medical report, they consulted a very esteemed neuropathologist named Dr. Lucy Ballion Rourke Adams.
Okay.
So in the original medical stuff, she had determined, because the guy was Wayne K. Ross, who was like, these wounds like would have caused her to lose motor skills. She would have been in immense pain. She probably would not have stabbed herself again. And he was like, all of these wounds are consistent with that, where she wouldn't have been able to keep going if it was her. So Lucy came out and said that there was no such wound like that. She was like, no, she would have been able to keep doing it. But then 7 years later, like a paper, because again, this is picking up steam.
Right.
Again, her family has been relentless, which is incredible.
Yeah.
They went to her and were like, hey, why did you say there was no such wound? And she was like, I didn't. Quote, I have no recollection of such a case. So she was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that. She's
Right.
like, I would conclude that I did not see the specimen in question, although there is a remote possibility that it was shown to me. Again, this is a forensic pathologist. I don't think that she's over her dinner table being like, yeah, not a determining wound. Why would she put out a statement like that that's so determinate, you know? She wouldn't. And she said she wouldn't. She was like, I never consulted on that case.
Right.
Like, what the hell?
Weird.
The newspaper examined the records and determined there was no bill, invoice, or report from her in this case. She was
Okay.
officially not in it. And she's like, I don't remember that shit.
Wow.
The other thing was, so people are lying. The other thing was they were like, okay, let's try to figure out, because if this isn't a suicide, there had to have been someone in there with her, right? How did they get in? Because like the door was locked and all this stuff. So they were like, okay. So they were talking to Goldberg, who had said on the police call as well, he's like, I've got security here. We're trying to bust this shit down. So they talked to the manager of the apartment building and he was like, nah. The security guard, they talked to the security guard and he's like, I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I didn't do that. And you can't hear him on the phone call.
Right.
Which you'd think you'd be able to hear him like bashing the door down.
Right.
But he was not involved and they were examining the latch because that was something that Greenberg had said on the call.
I was going to ask, was there even a latch there? Because he called that out specifically.
But that doesn't mean, so he had said on the phone, like she had to have locked it herself, like she locked me out. When they talked to the manager, who obviously probably helped order all these doors, he was like, no, you can lock that latch from the outside. Like it's like a weird door. Like you can, he's like, this is just the way that it works. You can't really lock yourself in like that for security reasons.
Right. Huh. Well, also you think too, if it's a latch like that it would have been broken by him busting down the door.
You would think so.
Yeah.
You would think so. So they were trying to, while they were figuring out like the security guard, like, were you there or were you not there? They analyzed the phone records and it showed that Goldberg had been on the phone with at least two of his relatives while he was breaking the door down, like before he called 911, which he had not shared.
Okay.
I wonder if one of those relatives was the judge who took all the cell phones and laptops.
Could be. They didn't specify which relatives. Okay.
Nope.
I mean, it could be. I'm also thinking too, if you come upon something like that where you are not necessarily thinking there's somebody dead inside, like you might call
Mom,
somebody.
Do you have a spare key? Like, can you come over and let me in my apartment? Or like, oh my God, this bitch. Like, let me in.
Not saying. I'm just giving alternative.
No, I completely. That's why I
things.
love you. You gotta be skeptical.
Yeah.
But it was interesting that he never mentioned it. And they were like, why were you calling people? Like, this is important.
I can see him not mentioning it in the 911 call, but if they interviewed, which I'm assuming they interviewed him afterwards.
Correct. And he was like, no, I just called you guys. And my friend, the security guard, who I invented in my mind. So so it kind of like went cold-ish because they were like, what do we do? And because there wasn't helpful laptop and cell phone data because the judge had taken, and I'm assuming wiped that shit, threw it in a landfill or something. In October of 2019, Ellen's parents filed a civil suit against the pathologist who conducted the autopsy and the medical examiner's office. It says, quote, the suit seeks to change the manner of death to homicide or undetermined.
Okay.
Yeah, they did. So it's really cool that her parents are like really into it because there's been all of these new types of examinations because they're calling up all these experts. Like, can you examine these files? So they did something that I wasn't super familiar with, photogrammetry.
Okay.
Which is like the 3D like imaging.
Yeah. They do that shit in Bones.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's like a TV, but it's a real thing.
Yeah.
When she died, it wasn't a thing yet, but then in 2019, they were the technology was available to create a 3D anatomical rendition of her wounds, and they were like, there is no scientific way she could have self-inflicted all of these wounds.
Yeah.
There is no goddamn way. None. Now it's like mad legal stuff. There's been so much going on. So in 2020, the Philadelphia court, it said, allowed the case to proceed past the motion to dismiss stage.
The civil case.
Yes.
Okay.
So they were like, okay, you can go ahead. We'll start the trial in 2021.
Yeah.
In 2022, the Attorney General's office in Pennsylvania reaffirmed that her death was a suicide. They were like, no, it's a suicide. And her parents were like, incorrect.
Interesting.
Incorrect. In August 2022, the like district attorney's office in the area, it's like Chester County is where it is, announced that it would officially reopen the investigation into her death.
Okay, what year was that?
That was August 2022.
Okay. I am only asking because are you familiar with Larry Krasner?
That sounds familiar, but I'm not sure.
He's the current district attorney of Philadelphia.
Oh.
But Krasner was elected in, I believe, 2020.
Okay.
And he is like
Oh my God.
wildly progressive DA. He was formerly a civil rights attorney, and he became DA. Love him. Absolutely
Yeah.
love him. And as you're talking about this, I'm thinking, I wonder if this is something Krasner would put on his radar to influence. But if you're talking about the district attorney's office in 2022, you said?
Yes.
I'm wondering if he had a hand in that at all.
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's call him.
These are the things that I'm thinking, because I love Larry Krasner. I followed
Yes.
his sort of election into this role, and which was really great for Philadelphia. But
Yeah.
he is a very, very, very progressive district attorney. So yeah, he's
bet
great.
He did this.
He's great. But
bet
I was
he's
curious
helping.
if he was going to come up in this at all.
It doesn't sound familiar, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Krasner's great. He's
Like,
the
it's not a
best.
huge city.
He's the best.
Oh my God. So when in 2022, when they were like, okay, we'll reopen the investigation. This was shortly after the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office had relinquished the case due to, quote, an appearance of conflict of interest.
Oh, no shit.
Very interesting.
No shit.
It was like, wow, your uncle's a judge.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out
That
of here.
does not surprise me at all. I'm glad they
Right.
did that, because also I don't think there's as much as ethically fraught that may be. I don't know that there's a
Right.
lot of offices that would willingly
It's a toughie.
relinquish. Yeah.
Right. Because it's like all political.
Yeah. Well, and they don't, frankly, they don't like to admit when they are incorrect or have done
That's
a bad
what
job.
I mean is like that's major for them to be like, oh, there actually might have been like some shady shit going on. So in 2024, the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania granted an allowance of appeal so that they could like challenge her cause of death. Then in February 2025, because of the lawsuit by her parents, they reached a settlement in which her death would be like officially reinvestigated.
Oh, good.
The
Okay.
medical examiner, the one who had been like kind of back and forth, like, is it a suicide? I don't know. I might have been getting pressured. He wrote like a big official, like sworn statement saying, I do not agree that it was a suicide. He's like, I got additional information. I do not agree with this shit. And then, which is like a little late, buddy.
Right. I'm
sure they were like,
you-
we'll fire you.
There's part of me that's thinking like, are you saying that now because it seems like
Well-
the tides are turning the other way?
And that's the thing, because as recently as February 2025, they keep talking to Osborne, this pathologist, and he's like, no, this was all bungled and horrible, and we need to reopen the case. This is clearly not a suicide, but unfortunately, he is no longer employed by the medical examiner's office, so it doesn't carry as much weight.
Right.
Now, apart from like all of that, these are the other reasons why I think he killed that girl.
Allegedly.
I think he did that.
Allegedly.
I think he did that allegedly. Allegedly, he fucking did it. So a lot of people were surprised because they seemed to be like the perfect couple. So a lot of people, I think, like, especially people who knew them, I know it's always
I'm sorry, you can't hear this, but I'm rolling my eyes and shaking my head.
It should have made an audible noise. It was such an eye roll.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know what's going on.
Right.
But they seem to be like such a nice couple. She's this like beautiful first grade teacher. It's like amazing. But her parents, who obviously are very involved in trying to get their daughter justice, like how they see it, her dad said that a month before the murder, because this whole time they're engaged, they're planning their wedding. So a lot of her time was spent like at the apartment, like, doing invitations and planning all this shit and booking. So they were like, well, he couldn't have killed her because they were so excited to get married. She had called home. She had called her parents and said, I need to come home. And they were trying to ask her, like, okay, yeah, you can come home. Like, what's wrong? And she was like, I just have to come home.
Yeah.
I have to come home. And they were like, okay. And she had kind of like drawn back on it, but she was like, I think I'm going to end up like coming home with you guys.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay.
So obviously there's something wrong.
There was something going on. And that was not like her.
Yeah.
A big thing that her fiance would like lean on. He hasn't spoken to the press like at all. But a
course
big
not.
thing that the case is focused on is she was diagnosed with general anxiety disorder. She definitely had some depression, but it's like, you know what causes anxiety and depression? When your fiance is being mean to you.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
So when they examined his phone, like for the night of the incident, because he had said, like, I had been texting and calling her thinking maybe she had fallen asleep and locked me out, right? All of his texts were so mean. Like, so mean. I understand it's cold, but that's my other thing. It's a blizzard so bad that they're sending a school teacher home, which is something that they do not do.
Right.
And you go to the gym? How'd you get there?
Yeah.
How'd you get back?
Yeah.
Weren't you real cold?
Yeah.
I don't believe you, bitch.
Yeah.
But all of his texts to her were like, open the fucking door, bitch. You're going to be sorry when I get in
jeez.
there. You locked me out. I can't believe you did that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if you thought that she had accidentally fallen asleep, I understand being like, hey girl, my nuts is cold. Please let me in. But like, you're going to call her like a bitch?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
not good. Not good.
Yeah.
So as recently as September, there have been more updates like similar to what I said in the case where they're like, okay, we're moving forward with it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm hoping that the case will pick up enough momentum that they look into him further. Because like I said, he hasn't spoken to the press.
Yeah.
Like at all.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see, you know, other things that have gone on, the quality of his character.
Sure.
Because I'm not saying it's an impossibility that maybe someone broke into her apartment and killed her.
Yeah.
I am saying it's an impossibility that she did that to herself.
I agree.
I don't think so.
that it is very, very unlikely that it was a
Right.
suicide.
And the fact that he immediately said, she fell on the knife. Oh, no. How did you know that?
Yeah.
You just got there.
And frankly, I mean,
When you be like, someone killed my wife.
Statistically, if you are murdered,
Right.
it is more likely than not somebody
The
that
man.
you know. Somebody
Yeah.
that you know. Somebody that you
Well,
know.
I mean, in this situation,
in
the
this
guy closest
situation,
to her,
yeah, her fiance.
the dude.
You know, I think it leans more that way.
Yes.
Obviously, he's not been charged or convicted of anything. We should say that for legal
Absolutely.
reasons.
This is all alleged. This is all my opinion. But I mean, there were
Rachel's
some,
opinion.
there
Yeah.
are some pretty educated people who have opinions
Yeah.
in this case as well that lean towards my opinions.
Yeah. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I
I'm just
I
being
don't
careful.
have getting sued money.
No, I agree. That's why we're peppering in all these cute little allegedlies.
Yes. Yes.
So if you allegedly have any alleged information about
my
the
God.
alleged death of alleged
Okay,
Ellen
enough,
Greenberg,
enough.
I will put her family has like a whole thing where you can contact them and leave information. So I will
Yeah.
definitely leave that in the show notes. Everyone who knew her, despite Mr. I'm not saying anything, said that she was just a wonderful, delightful teacher. She's sorely missed by her first grade students.
Aww.
And I hope that we can lay her to rest.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I just don't think that justice was served.
I agree.
Duh.
What a wild story.
The end.
The end. All right, so I decided to cover something that is just kind of on the weirder side.
Love it. Love weird.
Yeah, and we are going to go up to Canada.
Ooh,
Actually.
Canada, eh?
And talk about the Jack family disappearance.
Ooh.
So our story begins with Ronald and Doreen Jack, both of which were members of the Chislada Carrier Nation.
Okay.
One of the indigenous First Nations
Yeah.
in Canada, which is crucial
Yes.
because, and we have talked about it many, many, many times on this
Mm-hmm.
podcast about the missing and murdered
It's a huge
indigenous
problem.
women in Canada.
That has not received
and
the coverage it deserves.
Yes. Although now
Absolutely.
it's gotten a lot better.
It's gotten
but
coverage, but maybe not as much action.
correct.
You know?
Definitely. And that's not even that's just women.
Right.
Not to mention the like poverty rates
Yeah.
of First Nations people and treatment in general.
Absolutely.
The racism is strong in Canada.
Racism.
I say
Yup.
as an American where it's like a
Right.
real fucking problem
But
here
you
too.
know, what is it? Real recognizes real.
Yeah.
We have the
legit,
problem so we
legit.
can see the problem.
Yes. So there isn't too much background found about either Ronald or Doreen.
Okay.
But there are reports from Doreen's sister, Maria, that their early life was anything but idyllic.
Right. Did they grow up on the res?
She eventually.
Okay.
So she says they were abandoned by their parents, abused physically by their father, sexually abused by family friends.
Oh my gosh.
Along with poverty
Yeah.
that was very common within the indigenous community.
Right. Oh, how sad.
All three of the sisters spent time at Le Jacques Residential School as kids, so they were part of the residential schools.
Horrible.
Absolutely atrocious.
Oh my God. That makes
Yeah.
me so mad to think about.
But the school closed in 1976, and Doreen was sent to a live-in Catholic high school, which is,
What a
maybe
nightmare.
like a single step up from a residential school, but it's not
Maybe.
like a big step. It's like a half a
Jeez.
step. Yeah.
Ew.
So she went to the Catholic high school, but while she was there, Doreen met Ronald, and
Okay.
the two began a romantic relationship.
Okay.
I get the impression, again, she was in high school, so
Yeah.
I get the impression that they sort of split up for
Okay.
a little while.
It happens.
And during that time, Doreen actually had her first son, Russell,
Okay.
at 17.
Aw.
And then after that, the Ronald and Doreen, the couple, got back together.
Okay.
It was like 2 years after that. This time, they moved in together, living with Ronald's parents. Ronald was described as treating Russell, her son, like his own son. They
how
seemed
sweet.
incredibly happy together. They weren't like they were happy living at Ronald's parents'
I love a
house.
found
like
family.
It was just like a very sweet family
That warms my little
situation.
heart.
Doreen and Ronald had their own child, the
Okay.
second child named Ryan in 1985. Life was good.
Yeah.
Like life seemed to be going all
The
right.
end.
The end.
They
This is
lived
why it's a
happily
short
ever
story
after,
today.
right.
No murder whatsoever.
Nope. Goodbye.
So life was going pretty good for the
Yeah.
Jack family. That is until the late 1980s when things in the family started this like downhill slide.
Oh no.
Started with Ronald, who had been working at the sawmill. He got a back injury. He ends up losing his job.
Oh no.
This means that the Jack family had to go on welfare,
Right.
and they decided to move to Prince George in hopes of getting better job opportunities. But obviously, the financial struggle started putting a lot of pressure on the family unit.
As it does.
And Doreen started to heavily drink, sort of got a drinking problem. The two,
Capitalism.
Doreen and Ronald, started getting into like more physical altercations. It just, that was not a thing when
Right.
they first got together at the
Yeah.
beginning of the relationship and starting their family. But, obviously
A lot of stress.
I'm not making excuses for abuse.
No, but it does happen.
Yeah. She started drinking. He's like frustrated by being unemployed and like, yeah. So there were reports
What a
of
mess.
Ronald hitting Doreen.
Awful.
Yeah.
Don't hit.
Yeah. There are also reports that things had gotten so bad that Ronald had to borrow an undisclosed amount of money from like a third party.
Oh, wow.
I didn't find any specifics on that, but it sounded maybe kind of on the shady side of things.
Maybe a little under the proverbial table.
And Doreen had to steal cough medicine for the kids.
Oh no.
Yeah. Real bummer.
That breaks my heart.
On August 1st, 1989, Ronald decided to go to the First Leader Pub, a bar that was like right by their home, for a drink.
Okay.
While there, he was approached by an unidentified man who said he had a job opportunity for both Ronald and his wife.
Oh, so nice.
So great.
Wow.
The opportunity is just falling in my lap.
Oh dear.
This is from Canada Unsolved. Quote, the man told Ronnie about a job opportunity for him and his wife, Doreen, at a logging camp or ranch in the Klukul's Lake area,
Okay.
about 40 kilometers west of Prince George, past Bednesty. Ronnie was offered a job bucking logs, and Doreen was offered a position as a cook's helper in the camp kitchen.
Wow.
The man told Ronnie the camp even had a daycare for the couple's two sons.
Oh, how convenient.
The Jacks didn't have a car, so the man offered to drive them to the job site that night.
Wow.
End quote.
He's like, let's go. These
Yeah.
logs need bucking.
Which is like, honestly the perfect, they're like, jobs for
Yeah.
everyone. We'll take care of the kids. Don't even worry. Like, it'll be good.
Yeah.
So he was really excited about this opportunity. It's like the first opportunity, promising opportunity that came along
it's like
for
finally
him.
some luck.
Right. So excited about the opportunity, Ronald called his brother around 11:16 p.m. to tell him about the job. Approximately 2 hours later, Ronald called his parents to tell them they'd be at the camp for around 2 weeks, but would be back before school started.
Okay.
Now back at home, he went back home. The family packed up any belongings that they might need for the next few weeks. And around 1:21 a.m., Ronald, Doreen, Russell, and Ryan hopped into the stranger's vehicle to head to the job site.
Oh, no.
Unfortunately, this is the last time any of them were seen. Yeah. Now, obviously, their family knew they were not going to hear from them for a
Right.
few weeks.
So
You
they
know,
weren't nervous at first.
no. And when you
Yeah.
go to like these logging camps, there's, especially in the 80s, like
Oh, yeah. There's no cell phones.
there's
or
no cell
whatever.
phones. There's not really on-site
Right.
communication.
'Cause they're usually pretty remote because
Yes.
it's where all the big old trees are. I'm
Right. And it's
assuming.
like a camp that they set up specifically for logging. So it's
Yeah.
not it's not a stationary thing. Like
yeah.
it is something built to sort of be picked up and moved elsewhere.
Right. Nomadic.
Exactly. So several weeks went by with no word, and the family finally decided to report them missing.
Yeah.
So they reported them missing to the police on August 25th, 1989. Now, during the initial investigation, police did a sweep of the home and found that there were clothes, furniture, and school records for the kids that were still left there.
Oh, shit.
So there was still stuff there. I mean, it
right,
wasn't like they'd packed everything up and expected to
Yeah.
never be coming back.
Right.
And it didn't appear that anybody had been in the home
Okay.
since they had left.
Right.
It was pretty, and that was like pretty much it as far as
Yeah.
the investigation
Right.
goes.
They're like, well, you're
Yeah.
welcome.
There's obviously there have been allegations that a proper investigation didn't happen thanks to their indigenous background.
Right.
Which would not be surprising
Not
to me.
at all.
But especially in the 80s, outside of the initial reports and witness statements, authorities did not really have that much to go on.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, the RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, incorrectly announced the family had been found in September 1989.
What?
Causing the investigation to be briefly closed. But they hadn't been found.
That's interesting.
That's wild, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't like that.
Dude, me neither.
Why?
Also, how do you incorrectly announce that?
Stop fucking lying.
The family, working with the Prince George Native Friendship Center, worked on their own to fundraise for reward money and bring more publicity to the case. Now, unfortunately, the investigation into the disappearance of the Jack family stalled out for a full 7 years before authorities received what seems to be their only significant tip. On January 28th, 1996, police received a phone call at 8:33 a.m. from a man in Stony Creek, BC, saying, quote, "The family are buried in the south end of," and then there's a part that they couldn't really make out, ranch.
No, that's the part I want you to make out.
I know.
No.
The Jack family are buried in the south end of ranch.
Wow. No, I don't like that.
The call itself lasted about 10 seconds, and they were unable to ask any questions before the caller hung up.
Oh, man.
Police decided to publish pleas to the public in the local newspaper asking for the mysterious person to call again. They're like, please call back.
Right.
Saying if they did not, they would release the recording to the public.
Oh.
The recording was then sent to the University of British Columbia to be analyzed for any clues as to who may have called. They were able to track the call down to a house in Vanderhoof, which is just an interesting name for
It
a
is
town.
interesting.
Wouldn't you want to live in Vanderhoof?
I do want to live.
They tracked it down to a house in Vanderhoof where a house party had been taking place during the call, although it's unclear if they ever identified the caller.
Right.
Yeah, they either didn't or they did and it like didn't pan out to anything substantial because it's not really
Yeah.
reported.
Right. Oh my God.
The most recent search by the RCMP took place in 2019 when they searched a property to the south of Vanderhoof on a First Nation reserve. Although they utilized ground-penetrating radar and other heavy equipment, they were unable to turn up any evidence.
Oh, man.
The investigation...
Where are they?
Nobody knows.
Oh, that sucks.
Nobody knows. The investigation has involved hundreds of interviews, thousands of documents, and searches of multiple properties with zero trace of the Jack family to be found.
Dang.
About the only thing that they have at the moment is a description of the man who had originally offered the job to Ronald. Witnesses from the First Leader pub described the man as Caucasian, 6 foot to 6 tall.
Wow.
6 foot to 6 inches.
Yeah.
6 foot 6 inches.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. He's tall.
Listen. There's too many sixes.
I
in
know.
there.
It's
I can't
devilish.
keep them all. Can't keep track of them all.
Satanic in
Yes.
nature.
Blah, blah, blah. Reddish brown hair and a short, full beard and mustache.
Ooh.
His hair was parted on one side and went to the bottom of his ears. He was 35 to 40 years old and around 200 to 275 pounds.
Okay.
Again, this is from Canada Unsolved. At the time he was at the pub, quote, he was wearing a baseball cap and a red checkered work shirt, faded blue jeans, and a waist-length blue nylon jacket and work boots with leather fringes over the toes.
Sounds like every guy from Canada.
Literally.
That sucks.
Literally. Unfortunately, that's where our story ends.
Fuck.
There has been no trace of the Jack family. They kind of have just disappeared because they didn't know the exact location of the logging camp.
Right.
You know, who knows?
Logging camp.
Well,
Air quotes.
right.
Who knows if it even existed?
Yeah. If you have any information on the whereabouts of the Jack family or the man who had offered the job, please contact the Prince George RCMP at 250-561-3300. You can also report any tips to the Canadian Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS or canadiancrimestoppers.org/tips.
I hope they're okay. Like, my gut's like they're not, but I hope they're okay.
Well,
I hope they just moved away.
you would assume in the day of social media
Right.
and things that they would have heard that they were missing
right.
by this point.
Yeah, you would.
They do have, and some of the links that we'll put in the show notes, they have like age progressed photos.
Right.
Because the kids were like babies. They were like
I
little,
hate that.
you know, like 5-6-year-old
No.
kids who would be adults now.
Right.
So,
Oh, that breaks
Yeah.
my heart.
Yeah.
I hope there's some resolution for the family sometime.
yeah, I agree.
That's a bummer.
Let me end on a bummer.
Yeah.
Like I do.
I mean, it was a very interesting bummer.
All right. Well, I guess, I don't even have a good joiner. Just check out this podcast.
Hi, I'm Lainey, host of the new podcast, We're All Just Pretending. It's a podcast that has elements of Dear Abby with a twist of Post Secret. Every episode, I'll read listener questions and provide advice and insight as a friend. My own pod friends will even join in and offer their advice on parenting, relationships, and even give you really bad advice on purpose. Since we all have secrets to share, there'll also be a segment focusing on letting the skeletons out of your closet. If you're looking for advice or want to share a secret, head to allpretendingpod.com. And remember, we're all just pretending here.
All right. That has been our podcast.
It has.
Our show.
Did you like
What
it?
is this? I don't even know anymore.
I don't know. We just, these are on?
These are on.
I thought we were just having a conversation.
I was wondering why these are sitting here in front of our faces.
You're
this whole
recording
time.
this?
What? I didn't agree. Illinois' two-party consent state.
No!
You must delete.
Cut out the part where I talked about my butt.
Did you talk about your butt? Now I'm like, wait, did you actually talk about your butt?
No, because you removed it in the recording that they're hearing now.
Yeah. What are you talking about? Well, recording. This recording? Okay. Do you have any final thoughts?
Nope.
I'm surprised. You normally have something.
Canada's racist.
Well, some of Canada.
Yeah.
Some of Canada, probably an equal amount as the United States.
Oh yeah, I'm the pot and the kettle. But like,
yes.
That's horrible that they get away with that.
Do better.
Yeah.
Do better, Canada.
Yeah, Canada and America.
Do better.
Do better.
All right. Well, our sound and editing is by Tiff Fullman. Our music is by Jason Zakshevsky, the Enigma. This has been the Bad Taste Crime Podcast. We will actually, I take it back.
Take it back.
We are taking
Take it
our
back now,
annual October break to fully enjoy spooky season.
Breaktober.
So you will have episodes in October, but you
Yeah,
will
don't worry.
not have any episodes in November.
I
We
know.
will be back in December with brand new episodes in time for the holidays.
Yeah, we got you.
For all of your holiday driving.
Merry Christmas.
So we will see you in December.
Yeah. Oh my God.
This has been the Bad Taste Crime Podcast. We'll see you in December. Goodbye.
Ho, ho, ho.
Left their bodies on the hillsides along the highway. It was as if a wave of evil washed over this town.
We are all evil in some form or another.